Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman, and good morning, Mr. Donovan. Our highways, bridges, transit systems, airports, and seaports drive economic growth in America. In this global economy, the countries with modern transportation systems are going to compete best. They're going to be able to innovate and grow. And if part of our strategy is to boost wages, investing in infrastructure is one of the smartest things we can do. But when you look at our transportation infrastructure policy over the past few years, it's obvious we can do better. Millions and millions of Americans are employed in transportation and infrastructure, and these jobs often pay a higher wage, especially in my area. In my district, the median household income is $35,000 a year. So if you have a job in construction or in engineering, civil engineering, or at Port Tampa Bay or Tampa International Airport, you're making a higher wage. So I know it's true in my community, and I'm certain it's true in many of my colleagues' communities too. So I want to thank you for a strong 6-year infrastructure proposal. See, lately Congress has kind of been treading water. The last transportation reauthorization expired in September. We've had to draw general revenue to plug the holes in the highway fund. What I hear back home from my community, from the state, from business leaders, is they want greater certainty. They don't want a 1-year extension. They don't want a 2-year bill. They want a 6-year robust investment bill. So I want to thank you for proposing that in the budget. Can you go through and outline the transportation infrastructure plan in the budget, what you project for economic growth, and then explain, you link funding for a new highway bill to business tax reform rather than what we typically do on user pays principle for highway bills. Why should we take that step?
So I'm so glad you asked about this, Congresswoman, because it really is one of the most important things that we can do to grow our economy and create jobs. And I think it's something that's really been a bipartisan effort in past years, and I hope that it can be again this year. What we're proposing is not only a 6-year extension, but at a level that would increase by 40% the investment that we're making in our infrastructure. As you rightly said, it's paid for, more than fully paid for actually, through our comprehensive business tax reform proposal. Specifically, what we would do is ask companies to bring money that they're holding overseas, to bring it back into the country. We'd have a toll charge of 14% on those roughly $2 trillion of earnings that are held overseas. And we would restructure going forward the international tax system to a 19% rate. All of this would be part of revenue-neutral business tax reform. It follows a structure that Congressman Camp and others have proposed in the past. We think it has bipartisan support. And because it could pay for a 6-year proposal, when we've been sort of kicking the can down the road with small increments of funding many times over the last few years, we think this is a great way to take this one-time revenue, invest it, while we are working toward a longer-term solution beyond the 6 years for a funding source.
I've got to ask for your help on one thing, too, when it comes to infrastructure. The Port Tampa Bay has had a project in the Army Corps work program for a number of years. It's been very bipartisan. Congress has authorized it. It's been on the work plan. And because the Fed stepped up in previous years and said, okay, we're going to have the construction dollars set aside, we've been able to get a 70% match from private users, our port, and we were waiting for the state of Florida, this legislative session, to put up the rest of the money. But it disappeared from this budget, and I'd like to give you this to ask for your help to take a look, because you have to admit a 70% match from the locals is a great match. They typically only say 35% match from local sources. This is a very important public-private partnership for the largest seaport in Florida and one of our primary economic engines. So I'm going to give you this and ask for your help to look at it. Thank you.